that are not married, and they are doing this incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. I think, first of all, we have to go back to
the writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
And I said, you know, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
From the largest television network in Africa, the NTA, we bring to you Weekend File, where we seek the views of experts, government functionaries, movers of the economy, and the ordinary Nigerian on developmental challenges confronting the nation in an era of diversification, the process that is meant to reinvigorate all aspects of our national life in education, science, technology, and innovation, agriculture, health, and other aspects of societal development. The Weekend File crew has the onerous task of articulating all the issues, ensuring that all perspectives are brought to the table. On the show, all things matter and opinions of every class count. Weekend File shows every Saturday at 9 p.m. on the NTA network service. It is your weekend companion and a destination for news, views, and analysis. It is unmissable.
Hello, this is Weekend File on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Importation and proliferation of small arms and light weapons into the country has for far long become a serious issue in Nigeria's national life, leading to heightened security challenges experienced across the Federation in the forms of insurgency, armed robbery, kidnapping, communal disputes, and other social vices. Security experts attribute part of small arms proliferation in Nigeria to the emergence of regional conflicts and some faraway foreign nations which take advantage of some of Nigeria's borders. This is beside illegal importation by non-patriotic citizens whose crass commercial interests matter more to them than Nigeria's national security and peace. The federal government has indeed put up spirited effort to bring the menace of arms proliferation in the country to a halt, including setting up a presidential committee to decisively deal with the challenge. Yet, constant seizures and confiscation of those illegally imported arms by the Nigeria Customs Service and other security services in the country have made the issue reach an alarming proportion and indeed very scary. Correspondent reports across the country will give us an insight on that, and the president stated this while speaking to NTA News shortly on arrival from London after his vacation. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Nigerian Air Force 001 aircraft conveying President Muhammadu Buhari and his delegation taxied to a halt at exactly 6:45 p.m. on Saturday. And it was a joyous moment of hope and fulfillment as the president aligned Governor of Kogi State, Yahya Bello, Minister of the FCT, Muhammad Bello, his Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Service Chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police, Acting Chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, and other senior government officials. Officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade also mounted a ceremonial guard to give the Commander-in-Chief a befitting welcome. What will Nigerians expect from President Muhammadu Buhari after a well-deserved rest in London? A question posed to the Nigerian leader by NTA News.
We are going to jail more of the thieves, you know, that brought the economic problem to the country. I think this is being expected of me, and I will do it.
So in your absence, a lot has happened in this country. Victories in the National Assembly by-elections, defection by Abuja into your party, invasion of the National Assembly. What was your immediate reaction to all this?
Well, I think that should be appreciated as the beauty of democracy. Let people choose what party they want to belong to, but let them make sure that they have empowered their constituencies by educating them, voter registration, and making sure they have got their permanent voters cards, and that they use their right as Nigerians to vote whoever they like across ethnicity and religion. This is the beauty of democracy in Nigeria. This is what I'm hoping to see.
Some of the personalities present were also optimistic of a greater momentum in service to the nation for the good of all.
In him returning with vigor, more energy, and more determination to continue to do the good job he's been doing for this country. And we're so happy, so elated to have our father back to come and continue his job that he is doing for this country. And it can only be better. Nothing short of excellence that we're expecting from him.
And he's got a lot on his plate in terms of planning, in terms of also strategizing for the last leap of the administration. I believe that with this well-deserved race, he is coming back with a lot of energy and vitality, and I believe that the issues on ground substantially have been dealt with. He will just dot the I's and cross the T's with the other outstanding issues.
The president is our president, he's doing a good job, and if we do not come out like this in large number, many people will not know that some Nigerians appreciate what he's doing. And this is just this presidential support committee consists of over 250 different support groups across the nation. So this shows that Mr. President has support across the nation.
President Buhari's vacation of 10 working days elapsed on Friday. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has confirmed that 1 out of the 7 people trapped in the Jabi collapsed building died, while 1 sustained injuries and 5 others rescued safely. The NEMA boss, Mustafa Meihaja, stated this while on assessment of the area. Eliasu Ali Yakubu reports.
NEMA DG, while expressing regret over the incident, commiserated with the victims of the collapsed building. He commended the agency's rescue team for a job well done and cautioned building engineers to always do the needful to avoid similar disaster.
The FEMA, that is FCT Emergency Management Agency, that is responsible, responded. All other stakeholders bring their support to assist them, and a good work has been done to rescue who they were trapped, but it is an uncompleted building that has been here for quite a long time. And
yes, in Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the FCT authorities have assured that a thorough investigation into last Friday's building collapse in Abuja will be conducted. Coordinator of the Abuja Metropolitan Management Agency, Umar Shuaibu, confirmed this to newsman Dennis Adeguloye reports.
These images look, it has been described as a huge relief that there was not a greater number of casualties. Umar Shuaibu stressed that such an incident was not peculiar to Nigeria and should not be taken as an indictment on the relevant agencies.
We were here very promptly to address the matter because people's lives are involved. We work overnight with all floodlights, with all equipment everywhere you can see to it. And in a record time, we're able to come out everything and found out that there is no single person that is buried under this rubble.
This, however, was a building that had stood uncompleted for over a decade, and coordinator of the Abuja Metropolitan Management Agency responded on whether or not the appropriate integrity tests were carried out prior to the commencement of work.
We are going to commence our investigation now, and then where there is any lapse, we are going to be informed. We are going to take adequate measures in order to prevent future occurrence.
Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Early morning flood rendered hundreds of people homeless and destroyed farmlands in Yolde Party of Yola South and Loko of Song local government areas. Rayanu Bala reports that Governor Muhammad Umar Jibrila was on fact-finding mission to their areas, assured victims of immediate government assistance.
As at the time of the visit of the governor, rescue organizations are still evacuating people from the affected areas. The early morning flood had destroyed houses as well as other property, rendering the people of Yolde Party in a helpless situation. Governor Muhammad Umar Jibrila, who sympathized with them, called for precautionary measures against the flood for the safety of their lives and property. He advised them to avoid building on waterways and dumping refuse on water channels, which are the major causes of flooding.
We are taking them to a low secondary school so that we will look after their welfare.
Residents of Yolde Party are still calling on government to assist them in putting their lives back. In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
Aba, the commercial city of Abia State, would have been thrown into mourning if quick measures had not been taken when a truck conveying 12 tons of cooking gas fell in the front of the Nigerian Television Authority premises. Aba, Ikechukwu Ndukwe tells us more.
The incident occurred at about 6:40 p.m. yesterday at the front of NTA along Ikorekwene Road, Obohil, Aba, during the heavy downpour, when a tanker driver carrying about 12 tons of gas lost control and slided into a ditch in front of NTA Aba premises.
The road was covered with water. Then we have a hold up. So on the process, getting to this place, I don't know that the road is maybe bad like that.
While thanking God that no life was lost, some eyewitnesses say the incident always happens whenever there is heavy downpour.
When he was coming, because of the flood, he cannot be able to detect where the road stopped.
Man wanted to drive out, but not knowing that that place is bad.
They have appealed to the state government to quickly complete the drainage system and save the situation, as many unsuspecting drivers usually fall into the ditch in Aba. Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
Away from natural disasters, the Independent National Electoral Commission has registered more than 220,000 eligible voters in the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise in Jigawa State. State Resident Electoral Commissioner Mahmouda Issa stated this while speaking with Habibu Hussaini on the recent development on the exercise.
2 million eligible voters have so far registered in Jigawa State, out of which 226,000 were registered during the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Dr. Mahmoud Issa appealed to all eligible voters to come for registration, as that will enable them exercise their civic rights come 2019.
Any complaint of said, look, we're in INEC office from volunteer evening, and when they get my name, then they told me to go home, they cannot register me. Anybody did not register is because he did not comply with the legal requirement.
The Commissioner further said the recent extension of the registration period will support the Commission to capture more eligible voters and advise those registered to come for their cards. Some eligible voters who commended the registration process call for support to the electoral body to deliver its mandate.
As a result of the limited number of days for this exercise, some persons have just lost hope. They don't want to participate, but since they've extended the date, more persons are likely to come and register.
Jigawa has currently received 64,000 PVCs out of the number registered in the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise, with more than 48,000 collected. From Dutse, Habib Hussein, NTA News.
An autobiography of Nigeria's foremost professor of geology, Moso Balaje Olaloye Oyawe, has been reports.
Path of Destiny is the biography of 91-year-old Professor Olaloye Oyawe, a seasoned educationist whose journey on the path of the academia stands out distinct among his peers. Being well known at home and abroad, he brought honor and respect to his fatherland. And as dignitaries assembled to be part of the unveiling of his autobiography, speakers took turns to eulogize the author for taking time out to put together his biography. For the Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, having extolled the sterling qualities and academic prowess of the professor, sued for a renewed reading culture by Nigerians.
Not just an ordinary 91-year-old man. This is a man who was scored first in many fields, the first African professor of geology. I was particularly impressed that he was one of the moving spirits behind the establishment of University of Jos place. And look at the galaxy of personalities that he has been able to attract. The technology is usually for good. But the downside of technology at times is what we have to confront. I think we should continue to encourage our people to read because there's no substitute to reading.
In Offa, Kwara State, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, an Abuja magistrate court has adjourned the trial of a journalist, Jones Abari, to Wednesday, September 5. The trial chief magistrate, Chukwuemeka Okafor, who had earlier granted bail to the defendant, adjourned the case due to the absence of the prosecutor and defense counsel in court. Abari is standing trial for his alleged link with armed militancy in the Niger Delta region, an allegation the defendant denies. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says the aggregate foreign exchange inflow into the country stood at $91 billion in 2017, a record compared with 2016. The bank disclosed in its 2017 annual report that the
What the Jara then finish? Mr. Chef, the Jolliment, you not go forget.
This is a public service announcement from the Federal Road Safety Commission.
On behalf of the Federal Road Safety Corps, I congratulate all Muslim faithfuls on the occasion of this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration. I wish to respectfully remind you to be safety conscious as you travel to celebrate.
with Section 145 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, I write to intimate the Senate, House of Representatives, that I have resumed my functions as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with effect from today, Saturday, 18th August 2018. After my vacation, please accept, distinguished Senate President, Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives, the assurances of my highest consideration. Unquote. Now, many countries in the world, including Nigeria, are currently grappling with the proliferation of small arms. Since this is a global phenomenon, how should governments address it? What role should the public play in tackling the menace? Kunle Adeyeye, in this background report, gives an account of proliferation and importation of small arms in Nigeria.
Rifles, 440 arms and ammunition from Turkey. In 2018 alone, Customs says 300,000 of cartridges were seized 2 months ago, while 200,000 cartridges were intercepted in Niger, Kwara and Kogi states in July 2018, and another 3,500 seized at 9th Mile in Enugu State, to mention just a few. As one of the major managers of the nation's borders, the Nigeria Customs Service says beyond intelligence gathering, communities where these arms pass through should also assist through the provision of useful information to the service. Steve Okonma, an assistant comptroller in the investigation unit, says the service collaborates with other security agencies in tracing these arms purchased to the source.
Across the borders, even on the road, customs are daily working round the clock to make sure that arms in whatever capacity, whether small or big arms, does not come into this country.
A retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Felix Ogbaudu, attributes the challenge to many unmanned entry points into the country.
We need to police our borders very, very, very effectively. Regrettably, let me commend the governments, up to the present government regime. They've done a lot, but they've done so much, but it's not sufficient.
Very importantly, the National Assembly should move fast with the bill it's considering for converting the Presidential Committee on light weapons, small arms and light weapons, into a commission, a full-fledged commission.
In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
Key players in the security sector say the most effective way to checkmate the menace of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria is by introducing stringent laws that will spell out strict penalties for offenders.
There have been instances of clampdown on illegal movement of arms by security agents. The most recent of all is the recovery of over 155 ammunition of different calibers and 206 cartridges by the Enugu State Police Command during the first phase of the mop-up exercise.
Through the effort of our task force, who embark on coding, stop and search, and raiding of criminal hideouts. That is how we recover these arms and ammunition.
Enugu State Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Steve Amoga, said the command has made several arrests in respect to that, most of whom were pipeline vandals who use small arms to scare the security agents.
To make it effective, they tighten our laws, tighten our borders.
Also recently, the Anambra State Police Command arrested 35 suspected cultists with small arms and light weapons.
The command has arrested 35 suspected cult members belonging to different sects groups.
As the country prepares for the general election come 2019, stakeholders call for national vigilance by both the security operatives and well-meaning Nigerians. They also noted that the revelation made by the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons in 2015 that about 60% of all illicit arms used in the Southeast Zone were locally fabricated should provide a veritable template for holistic sensitization, regulations, and disarmament. In Enugu, Ifeoma Ndu-Okolie, NTA News.
Combating transnational crime has remained a major challenge in developing countries, Nigeria inclusive. The Niger Kwara Kogi Command of the Nigeria Customs Service says with the recent interception of about 200,000 rounds of ammunition at the Babana border in Niger State, the proliferation of arms will be better, or rather will be better addressed by beefing up the nation's security architecture. Mary Noel Berger reports.
In the 15 years of the establishment of the Niger Kogi Kwara Command of the Nigeria Customs Service, several seizures of contraband goods had been made. But the interception of the about 200,000 rounds of live ammunition at the Babana border in Niger State was a huge catch and success for the nation. The ammunition, which were concealed in a special compartment of the truck conveying them, would have gone into wrong hands but for the eagle eyes of the custom officers. The Onitsha-bound ammunition were imported from Cotonou in Benin Republic by the suspect who claimed they were for local hunters in Anambra State. With this development, The command raised concern over insurgency, kidnapping, and other related crimes if proliferation of small arms and ammunition in the country is not nipped in the bud.
This is a wake-up call. We need to have a collaborative effort among our security agencies, both in Nigeria and the one in our neighboring countries.
The market is here now, and the customers here. This is political era. Political opponents can arm their thugs with weapons.
A similar mop-up exercise of illegal arms was carried out by the State Command of the Nigerian Police Force, during which over 200 arms and ammunition were seized from unauthorized persons across the state. Involved measures on tackling the menace, via intelligence sharing, anti-smuggling drive, and deployment of more personnel to the border post.
The increasing rate of violence and criminal activities being experienced in the country has been attributed to the indiscriminate flow of arms and ammunition into the country. Deborah Abola in Ilorin finds out measures needed to be put in place to contain the situation.
State capital, the police command says it is in the bid to contain these criminal activities that Inspector General of Police Idris Ibrahim commands a mop-up of arms from illegal hands.
We did as directed, and the first time we recover about 53 arms that we paraded, that people willingly submitted. And ever since then, we've recovered as much as 100 arms now.
Considering the various hurdles crossed by the nation's security agencies to stem criminal tide in recent time, how can the proliferation of arms be curtailed?
Arms and ammunition, they don't just drop from the sky. They pass through the borderline, they pass through seaports, airports, and so on. So we have agencies that are supposed to check, and then when you arrest, let people know what has happened to those whom you have arrested.
Nigerians express optimism that with cooperation of citizens in identifying questionable characters in the society, timely alert of security agencies for timely intervention, and political will on the part of government to uphold the rule of law, criminal activities like the proliferation of arms will be reduced to its barest minimum. Deborah Agbola, NTA News.
Arms interdiction is a measure used globally by security agencies to checkmate illegal arms smuggling and proliferation. This has been advocated as the way forward if Nigeria must regulate the importation of arms. Dotun Oguyemi gives us this report on efforts made by government agencies and indices of activities at the Lagos port to curtail illegal importation of arms.
2nd, 2010, vigilant security operatives at the Lagos ports intercepted 13 containers laden with items of war, including rocket launchers, hand grenades, cartridges, and explosives, which had been falsely declared. It is on record as the largest catch of illegal arms and ammunition intercepted at the Lagos ports. In January 2017, operatives of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Customs Service intercepted 660 pieces of pump-action rifles, which had already left the ports. And in May of the same year, the service again intercepted 440 pieces of the rifles at the Tinkan Island ports. On September 11, 2017, the Customs Intelligence Unit, on a routine monitoring of activities, discovered another large catch of 1,100 pieces of Joseph pump-action rifles. Another container was intercepted a week after, on 20th September, and made a discovery of another 470 pump-action rifles. This brought the total number.
It's not being used for intelligence implementation. I think policies are being compromised.
These interceptions have called for closer monitoring of activities at the ports, and stakeholders are of the opinion that intelligence gathering and sharing among security operatives is key to addressing this growing concern. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
Violent crimes and cult-related killings in Niger Delta region have been linked to the assorted availability of arms and light weapons in the hands of jobless youths. Concerned citizens contend that such incidences can be tackled through a genuine multi-dimensional approach involving the government, security agencies and the citizens. Robinson Delataide has the details.
Concerns in Nigeria may have been worsened by the importation and proliferation of firearms across the country. United Nations statistics reveal that Nigeria accounts for about 350 million illegal arms, representing 70% of the estimated 500 million of small arms and light weapons circulating in the West African sub-region. In January 2018 alone, investigations showed that 131 persons lost their lives to court clashes, kidnappings, and ritual killings in the South-South, for which Rivers State accounted for more than 50%.
There is no group of 6 boys working together that you don't find them with one dangerous weapon or the other.
To stop this really is for people within the neighborhood to speak out.
Rivers State Police Public Relations Officer Nnamdi Omoni said the command recovered a large cache of arms and ammunition through the arms mop-up order by the Inspector General of Police.
At the last count, we got about 1,000 arms of different categories, AK-47 and other prohibited firearms. We are recovered. Even the locally made guns, we also got them mopped up.
The Nigerian Customs Zone 6 Port Harcourt has also intercepted a container load of 620 sewn military camouflage uniforms and caps, 10,100 pieces of inner T-shirts, and 512 pairs of jungle boots belonging to one Eigacho Nigeria Limited.
Importation of any kind of military wares or kits by any individual, company or group is prohibited.
More than 154 assortment of arms and ammunition recovered from criminals in August were displayed before the media during the monthly briefing by the Rivers State Commissioner of Police. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Delataide, NTA News.
Our studio discussion is next with the Deputy Comptroller, Nigeria Customs Service, Dauda Ashigie. But before then, let's have some commercial messages.
Brought us as usual.
As usual. You have no problem.
For the three put
You are welcome, sir.
as usual, yeah? I was...
You take that one. You take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have? You don't have?
Join the rice revolution today.
I boost our economy and I give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back to Weekend File. With me to discuss the issue is Deputy Comptroller, Nigeria Customs Service in charge of enforcement, Dauda Ashigie. Welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you, Kulu.
Let's start this discussion by asking you to explain
question. Small arm is something, a gun produced for an individual that you can use one hand. A small arm, like a revolver, small pistol that you can put in your pocket, inside your jacket. Nobody will know you're holding it. You can fire it with one hand. So that is what we call small arm. We have small machine guns. These are small, light arms.
All right, so how frequent do we have incidences of importation of small arms in the country?
Well, to get this record, you can get it from our statistics office at the headquarters. That is where if you check, you know from which zone, this state, is at the end of the month, we compile it. You can always get the records at the headquarters, in our statistics office.
But you can at least guide us a little bit.
Yeah, it's not so rampant. It's not rampant. From time to time, you hear from the seaport Another time, you hear from the border. But for some time now, we have not had an issue of arms control. The last ones we have been having now are things like cartridges. You can see from Niger, Lagos, Idiroko. So just of recent, I came back from Idiroko on an investigation on vehicles. You see some vehicles coming in trailers, trucks, empty.
Loaded with these things?
Loaded with arms and ammunition. Empty. If you open the vehicle, you see it's empty. But we, Eagles, eyes, like the customs, we're always observant. We stop you to check. You found out that. We say, okay, you wait, let's see. You say nothing inside this vehicle? The driver will say nothing. The one will say nothing. We say, okay, wait. We'll now go around, look. We say, no, there's something inside this vehicle. We'll now call welder to come. You know, the first layer, they'll just put another on top. By the time you tear it off, if you open it, you'll be amazed. You'll be surprised. Like the one arrested just of recent from Niger and Kogi axis, of which you have shown them on your network program now.
Okay, in one of those reports there.
Yes.
Okay, so which border of the country is more prone to such incidences? Although we know it happens across board.
Yeah, it happens across all borders.
So which one, which of the borders is
most
prone
of these things comes in through the southwest. Example like Idiroko area. You know, that area is big. It's very, very big. You control this area today, they shift to another site tomorrow. You control this area soon, but we are equal to the tax. We're equal to the tax. We'll match them one-on-one. No matter which way they go, we're equal to the tax. For now, there's no incidence of that yet.
All right, you know.
And the Minister of Justice to carry on. Ours to make arrests and bring them to the law. First, make people that will prosecute them. It's not the duty of customs to go to court and it. We have police, we have the SS to carry on, whichever way it goes.
The trend is increasing and we are really worried. So, why is it too difficult to contain?
Well, you see, the border is big. The border is big. I may tell you that we don't have enough equipments. We don't have enough equipments. Things like scanning machines, gadgets that can detect on time. But thank God, with the coming of this administration and with the able of our Controller General and person of our Colonel Ahmed Ali retired, he has promised us to get us more equipments like scanning machines in the port, border areas and other equipments, of which he's working on, is on top of it. He promised very soon to be supplied. And with the ones we have, he has taken care of them, they have been repaired, and that's why you see things, he cannot bring in anything right now.
Maybe sabotage on the part of some people or agencies responsible for manning these borders might also be affecting your job.
Yeah. Well, I may tell you that no security agency should compromise on arms anyhow, no matter what. Give me anything on this earth, I will not allow you to pass. So I don't see any officer that would dare his life to allow arms to come into this country at all, at all. It doesn't happen. We don't compromise.
But you see, observers are of the view that failure to prosecute those involved in previous incidences is partly responsible for a rise in this trend. Would you agree with that?
Well, I can tell you as of now, some are in court already. I'm just coming from FOU Zone A, Lagos. I've been there. I know we have apprehended many of them. They're in court right now. Cases are in court. It's left for the court to determine what to do with them. Ours is to bring them. They will hand over to the police or SS to take them to the court.
Now, inter-agency synergy is central in checkmating the trend, looking at how vast and complex Nigeria's borders are. So, how do you respond to such?
It's a key point. It's a key point of cooperation. I say, if you can cooperate, all of us, I don't think anything bad can come into this country. But you know, before, this agency will claim, I'm higher than this one, say, or army, or police, immigration, SS. But right now, with the coming of our new Controller General, he has called us all of us together. He comes in to discuss with us. We should be having weekly meeting or monthly meeting to discuss issues, to exchange ideas. If you have any information, you pass it to the proper person that will check. Immigration can check their passport, tell them, check so person, we have information that so person has such a thing on his body, or they have, check their back, of which is very key now. Right now, I can tell you that everything is working on fine because we cooperate, we do everything together.
We wish you good luck.
Thank you, sir.
And we also like to thank you for coming on Weekend File today.
Thank you, sir.
I've been talking with the Deputy Comptroller, Nigeria Customs Service in charge of enforcement, Dawuda Ashige. You're watching Weekend File. More reports ahead, including sports and weather. Stay tuned.
I know how much I spent.
Let these personal experiences serve as a lesson to all who would repeat their mistakes. A word is enough for the wise.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Welcome back. All is now set for the commencement of the 2018 Hajj rite in Saudi Arabia, with about 2 million pilgrims from across the world, including about 60,000 from Nigeria. Mohammed Ali reports that Hajj revolves around 5 sacred places in Mecca and environs.
Circumambulation of the Holy Kaaba 7 times after taking a ritual bath, putting on the ihram and making intention lead to a series of other rituals lasting about 7 days for pilgrims on Hajj. Few hours from now, the rite will begin and all pilgrims move to the tents in Mina, en route Arafat Plains, where on Monday 9th Zulhijjah, pilgrims will spend the day making supplications to Allah, a ritual that is most in Hajj. Pilgrims then move to Muzdalifah to spend the night and then return to Mina on Tuesday before going to Mecca for other rites and returning to Mina on the same day. These movements done by the pilgrims almost at the same time is so massive that special arrangements need to be made. But Saudi authorities say everything is ready. Saudi Minister of Information Awad bin Saleh Al-Awad, who conducted journalists to the site, reiterated commitment of the kingdom to conduct a safe and hate-free exercise. About 800 journalists from across the world are expected to cover the Hajj exercise this year. In Saudi Arabia, Muhammad Ali, NTA News.
The former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, was a colossus and diplomat of high repute, whose imprint is indelible. A patriot par excellence and a detribalized human being. In this report, Patricia Sami Luba takes a look at the life and times of the foremost diplomat and legendary of his time, Kofi Annan.
The world was shocked when the news of the death of former United Nations Secretary General and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Kofi Annan, who died on Saturday 18th of August at a Swiss hospital in Bern, capital of Switzerland, after a brief illness at 80. A statement by his foundation said he passed away peacefully in the presence of his wife, Nena, and their children, Ama, Kojo, and Nina, by his side during his last days. Kofi Annan was the first Secretary General from the Sub-Sahara African region.
I, Kofi Annan.
I, Kofi Annan.
Solemnly swear.
Solemnly swear.
With career credited for raising the world body's profile in global politics during his 2 terms as UN chief from January 1997 to December 2006. Kofi Annan joined the UN in 1962. The current UN chief, Antonio Guterres, who expressed deep sadness at the news, described his predecessor as a guiding force for good. Kofi Annan was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize along with the UN in 2001 for their work for a better organized and more peaceful world.
He was a consummate diplomat of international renown. Indeed, somebody whose like has not been seen for many years in the world, and I think we may not see somebody like Kofi Annan in years to come.
Leaders like British Prime Minister Theresa May, President Vladimir Putin of Russia, Swedish Foreign Minister Margot Wallström, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and a host of others have reacted to the news. Worthy of note is that of President Nana Akufo-Addo, of his home country, who said, "The government and people of Ghana are deeply saddened by the news of the death of one of their greatest compatriots, and that flags at the country's government offices and diplomatic missions will fly at half-mast for a week. The world will indeed miss the greatest and most influential icon of all time, who was loved by many. Adieu, the legendary Kofi Annan." In Abuja.
Annan in the early hours of Saturday, 18th August 2018. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says President Buhari called President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana from London and said all Nigerians and ECOWAS member countries share in the deep loss. He noted that as the first elected staff of the United Nations to lead the World Organization and first African to win the 2001 Nobel Peace Prize jointly with the United Nations, Kofi Annan's humanity, nobility and love set him apart from global greatness. President Buhari added that Annan's origin and home will always be traced to Ghana, but his exceptional leadership, quality role and contribution to global peace and development will remain indelible in the history of the globe. The president condoles with the wife of the diplomat, Name Maria Annan, and his family members, staff of the United Nations and the global organizations, and prayed Almighty God to comfort his family and all his loved ones. Now to sports. Popular Lagos Governors Cup tennis